am Zoe, and I am Paranormal Extraction, the Supernatural Light Worker, and the interviewer of the Supernatural today. Guess what, everybody? We have the Ghost Maidens directly from Holland. Yay! We have Rose and Sybil, and we're going to be talking about angels versus aliens.
Nice.
A message from above, or information from above. How about that? So, hey, you guys, how are you today? I'm so excited. Directly from Holland. I am so excited. So, it's nighttime there.
Yeah, night-ish.
Oh, like around a little bit before dinner.
Okay, that's great. So, which one's Rose and which one's Sybil? Sorry.
I'm Sybil.
Oh, okay.
The Ghost Maidens.
Yes.
The Ghost Maidens, yes. These are the Ghost Maidens.
Are you sisters or just friends?
Are you sisters or friends?
Sister works.
Same. Cool.
I just want to let everybody know that these guys are absolutely amazing, and I am just so honored to have them on today because they have the most amazing research I have ever seen on anybody in this paranormal field do. So we are going to go ahead and start. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves first? What do you guys do? And let everybody know who you are. There I am. You can see me a little bit.
So you wanna?
Yeah, well, we've always been interested in the paranormal. We use art to investigate the paranormal. We like exploring the culture of the paranormal.
Very interested in paranormal pop culture also, because it says a lot about our contemporary
Way of thinking.
in this world and beyond. And I think, well, Sybil is also an art historian, so she knows a lot about history, therefore. And my background is in theater, so we combine that a little bit.
Wow. Okay, so we're going to talk about angels versus aliens. So actually, guys, I really don't even know what we're going to be talking about. So I'm just going to let them go ahead and start, and then I'll be asking questions because I really don't know where this is going to go today. So tell us about what angels versus aliens. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we just want to try to answer the questions of why we are always looking for outside information about humanity. So whether it's more contemporary, like looking for aliens or believing in aliens, or whether it's taking place in history where angels were supposedly bringing information from the outside, we're kind of looking at that as a mirror.
Okay, so what do you guys think about angels? I mean, what is your spin on that? If we're talking about angels versus aliens.
Well, I think they bring different kinds of information. I think in history, the times that people have been visited by angels, I think the message was different than when people are being visited by aliens. I think, aliens also say a lot about their future, I think. They have a different agenda. And angels, they come to teach us something about our morality more, I think.
Yeah, so you think that, have you had any experiences with any of this? I mean, any experience with angels?
Well, not that I know of, but I do know that in history there have been several prophets who said that they were speaking to angels and that they got knowledge from them, and how they describe these encounters. It feels a lot like there's a technique in writing also, making poetry. What's free writing? I'm sure you know it.
Like automatic.
Oh, it's
automatic writing.
Automatic writing, okay. Automatic writing is when you go into a trance state and you actually channel in an angel or another being. It can be good, it can be bad. And you just start writing and you don't really know what you're writing. And then all of a sudden, when you come out of this state, then you can read it and it's actually a message from the other side. That's what automatic writing is, just in case you didn't know. Correct? Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I think I had these experiences where I was just automatic writing and not really reading it back and not really remembering writing that down. I have had these experiences.
Okay.
And I think that religious experience, such as like being visited by aliens, being visited by angels, is the same process that you experience when you're creating or making, where you go somewhere else you don't really remember. You bring back information maybe you didn't have before, so it's kind of like this way of leaving your thinking brain.
Right, yes, it is. So when you did this automatic writing, this was actually, do you think it was from an angel or an alien?
That I don't know. They didn't leave a name, a business card.
They didn't.
No one left his name and phone number.
So now I know that you said that when we talked briefly, and that it was really briefly, but we talked, and you said that there was actually you could transcribe it, or the angels had a certain language or something like that. Was that?
It's called Enochian.
And what is that?
Well, there was this guy in the 1600s. It was Edward Kelly, right?
John Dee and Edward Kelly.
John Dee and Edward Kelly, and they worked together, and they would be called paranormal investigators today.
Alchemists, scientists.
Exactly, and this one, I always mix them up, like who is Edward and who is John. I don't really know, but one of them was looking into a mirror.
That's Edward.
That's Edward,
Yeah.
and the other one was writing it down.
Yeah.
And then this Edward was visited by angels, he said, and they told him a language, and I think it's a mixture between Latin, Old English, and I don't know, some other old language, but it's a completely new language.
Okay, so I'm a little lost here. So they can transcribe it. They transcribed it, not you. I mean, not the,
They did.
the regular.
It's been around for about 400 years, basically since Queen Elizabeth.
Okay, so this is what people are using right now? Are they using this type of language, or is this language come through a lot of different people and then it's is that how it works?
Well, also some Satanists have had visitations with demons who use the same language, like Aleister Crowley, for example. He also heard Enochian language, angelic language, when he was in Egypt.
And therefore, Anton LaVey and all the new Satanists that come after that.
Yeah, you gotta,
Satanists these days.
Yeah.
Than with angels.
yeah. Well, see, you got to be really careful when you do this, when you do automatic writing or when you do any of the things that we're talking about right now, because you can actually, if you don't know what you're doing or what kind of protection techniques that if you're not using any protection techniques, then you can actually call in the demons. And
Who's the ones we need to be more afraid of, the angels or the demons?
well, I would definitely be more afraid of the demons, and when you're playing around with things like that, it's similar to a Ouija board giving you the answers. And that's what automatic writing could be too, is that you're playing around, and I always say you play, you pay. So
Well, I would say that the responsibility is not with me writing it, but with the person reading it.
interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
you can visit a website that will translate normal English into Enochian language for you, so I wouldn't necessarily say that website is the danger. I'd say that's the tool, right? Like the Ouija board. So it's really up to the intention of the person or the intention of the receiver. It's all about intention, really.
And the interpretation.
Well, that's interesting. So this particular website actually will transcribe it into the language you guys are speaking about. So you can write it in, and then it'll transcribe it into that language. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for example, the word telekvovim, yeah, means death dragon, which is basically Satan,
Whoa.
for example.
But there are not many words in angelic language, so it cannot translate. For example,
Computer.
hey Sybil, do you want to grab dinner? I don't know. It will not translate that.
Okay. Okay, this is very interesting. So if someone wanted to go in and find out, what website is this? I mean,
Just type in a Enochian translator.
and how do you spell Enochian?
Like Enoch, the guy from the Bible,
Enoch.
and then Ian.
Okay,
I-A-N.
Enoch.
Enochian.
Enochian. Okay.
The Book of Enoch.
Okay, so it's the Book of Enoch. Then is that where it comes from, or you said it goes all the way?
There's an organ with Enoch, and yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So if I got a message from above, then I could go on, and then it would translate into that language.
I don't know the rules. I don't know the angel rules. Maybe to some they speak French. I don't know. To the next we speak French. So.
Well, that's what I always say is, when they have these paranormal shows and they always go in with the voice boxes, which I don't believe in, and they say, what's your name? And it's like, Marilyn. Well, why are they always talking in English? Why aren't they talking in French or German? I've never understood.
American place.
I don't understand it. But if it's a ghost and it's German, then it should be speaking in German, not English. It's
Unless you get all knowledge after you die.
interesting.
Or unless it's only about the receiver and not about the
Speaker.
the speaker. Again, the responsibility lies with the person who interprets.
Yeah, but when we're talking about the voice boxes though, or the voice, I just think I don't agree with you guys. I think it's really stupid because the radio waves, they can make it sound good. You can actually believe you're hearing whatever you're going to believe, and whatever translation comes through that voice box. So Edward, it'll come through as Edward. If it speaks any more words, I believe if it's a true ghost, it will actually speak in its own language. It's not going to be an interpretation of whatever's coming through. I don't think that they're giving you messages by it being English only. I think
So what language do aliens speak?
Actually, yes, it depends. I think that this is separate than voice meters, but what aliens speak would be different languages. I'll give you an example. The reptilians, I know that we just did a little teeny, we just went up there to find a Rocketdyne, and I know about reptilians that are up there, and I spoke to someone who has them on video. And they speak in a chirping noise. They make a chirping, like a clicking noise, and they make this at night, and that's how they communicate. So I think it really depends on which race you're speaking about. If it's going to be the Greys or the reptilians, I'm not really sure.
So can you explain to me when, and how long this whole race theory has been going with the aliens?
The race theory's been going on forever. I mean, I think
Can
this
you
goes.
tell me who came up with it and how they kind of classified them and what year they started doing that?
Geez, I don't know that's some really good information. I'm not sure what year they started to do this with classifying aliens. However, I know that if you go back to the Native Americans, they are the go-tos on this. on seeing the star beings or star seeds or whatever they called them back then.
Star people.
But the star people. Also, they do speak about skinwalkers in there and other different beings and of the supernatural. So, what was the question again?
When did they start?
Oh, when did they start? I don't know when they started. I mean, I know for me, I'm a hybrid Nordic. I'm from the hybrid Nordic race because 2% of the population has green eyes, and that's one of the traits that the hybrid Nordic race has. And 2% of the population has that, which makes me a hybrid Nordic alien from the hybrid Nordic alien race. I also have a very strange and very rare blood type, which is also part of that.
Can you tell me the origin story of Nord aliens?
You can go on and look up the Nordic alien race and find out, but they're basically light workers. They've come down to help humanity. They're here to help. They're not like the reptilian race. The reptilian race is on the destructive and fearful side. So my beliefs right now with everything that's going on with the COVID and everything else, that the reptilian race is creating more fear amongst everyone, which they feed off of. So either they...
Who are these reptilians? How do you recognize them?
How do I recognize who?
Reptilian.
The reptilians.
By fear. If you're fearful, like you feel a lot of fear, like right now there's a lot of fear. People don't know where they're going. They don't know how how life is gonna go. They're not sure about their jobs. They're fearful to go out. They can't see other people's faces. That fear breeds more fear.
But do you meet them in person, reptilians? Like, where do they live?
You can. I mean, I do know that down in Palomino Valley here in Nevada, there are some down there. And it could be because of all of the toxic waste that Rocketdyne, which we just did. It's Rocketdyne. Rocketdyne was basically a testing site for the Apollo mission when we went to the moon, and they tested all the rocket thrusters out in Nevada. That's where they tested them, and nobody really knew about it. And that's when we had Neil Armstrong and who else was it, babe?
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, Buzz Aldrin, who went up on the first moon. Anyways, because of the toxic waste that got into the water, they actually didn't know that until they sold the land and pulled out. And then they went in and housing, I'm just going to do it really fast. Somebody came in and they wanted to build a bunch of houses there and bought the land and found out that the water was toxic and causing all kinds of cancer and different things within people and making them really sick. So Rocketdyne had to come in and clean up the water supply, okay, which they say is healthy now, but that doesn't, still, if you go way down into the earth, into the volcanic rock, okay, all that toxicity is still there. And I believe that that's why the reptilians are still there, is because of the toxicity that's there.
They love fear.
They love, they're predominantly ruling right now our society because of fear. That's my belief, because most people that I meet in society right now are very, very fearful of the future. And
Well, where are they? Like, where are they? Are they invisible? What's the structure of a reptilian invasion or occupation?
From what I was told and from my source, they're about 6 to 8 feet tall, and he said that they were very whitish and like lizardy skin, scaly skin. And they only come out at night, and he's only seen them on his infrared camera. So their actual they're not ghosts, they're actual things.
Like beast,
They're what?
like an animal or like
Yeah.
a human.
It's like an animal human. It's an animal human. It stands upright, okay, and it has arms and it has legs and it has a head. So that would make it look like a human,
Humanoid.
okay, humanoid. But the actual scaly skin and the way that the head is structured and the hands and the way the feet move or the way it moves is more like an animal. That's why they call them the reptilians, because of their skin. They look more like a reptile and they stand upright rather than a human with, soft, clear skin like we have. No idea where they come from or why they're here. I mean, I believe that why they're here is to create fear. And I really wish a different race would come in and clean up this mess.
So what about like people from India or something, for example, like what are they seeded from?
I'm not really sure what, if you do your research, which I know you're really big into research, that there's different countries all over that actually have information on different types of aliens, like reptilians or the Greys, and they speak about it, but they use a different term than we use. So it can be an actual, I can't remember, Vundega or something like that from India. Dee, remember when we did that?
Mm-hmm. But I don't remember everybody's gonna have their own.
Yeah, they're going to
thing.
have their own interpretation of what it is, but they do show photos and how they interpret what they look like, and they're all kind of similar, but not very similar.
What if they don't believe in aliens?
Yeah.
Every culture does believe to some degree in aliens and does have proof that aliens do exist, or at least
The Dutch definitely don't believe in aliens.
the Dutch. Oh, they don't. Well, USOs, UFOs, there's proof of those. So they've just introduced it now into the United States, one actual video that they released and introduced that it is definitely a UFO. So,
Well, it doesn't really matter if they're real or not. Like, they're real to you. So I think that's the most relevant.
well, I saw one, so I know they're real.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a gray alien when I was pregnant. I was laying on the bed upstairs, and so that was upstairs with no steps from the outside to go all the way up to the second level. And we had vaulted ceilings, so this was very, very high up. And I was laying on the bed, and I was about, 6 months pregnant, and I looked over to the window, and I was just trying to rest, and I saw a gray alien, the head of a gray alien, looking in the window at me from the second story.
Was this before you were doing alien stuff, or is this what started it?
This was before. I had just started. I've always been into the paranormal, always, since I was about 10 years old. And my grandfather actually saw a UFO, so it runs in the family. However, he saw a UFO. He didn't see an actual alien. I'm the one that saw the gray. So it was. Go ahead.
Do you think Greys are us from the future?
Sure. Why not?
Actually, I think the Greys, they very could be us from the future, but actually, I don't really think that. I believe that they're more robotic. They're a type of like what we're coming out with now with our robotics and humans they're making robots, to look very human.
Yeah.
So I believe that it's from another dimension, and they're sending their robots here because they're very robotic. Okay, similar to the Asian race, and I don't want to have any discrimination here, but I believe that a lot of the Asians are hybrid Greys. because they look very similar. However, I do believe that they're more robotic and sent down here from above.
Sybil, what do you do about your artwork, mixing it into? You said you would do artwork. I don't know if you wrote that in.
Yeah.
Well, what are you doing to interpret artwork with Rose to mix those two things together to express your paranormal viewpoints? I was just curious because I'm an artist too, and
I think one of the biggest goals of any artist is to think about and contemplate your own mortality, right? I mean, this is just kind of a new way. The paranormal, as we call it now, is just kind of a new way for people to get in touch with that, right?
Sure.
Because it's a little bit weird, and you know, maybe people aren't going to accept you for that, but since you use technology and since you use all of these gadgets, that it's a little bit more mainstream. And I think we use art from the past to try to kind of explain the unexplainable, like the feelings you have, emotions, the way you are just as a human. I mean, the thing that makes us the most human is that we all have to die, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And looking at art pieces from the past, I think you can actually go on a time travel a little bit, because when you look at something that someone 500 years ago created, then you can have a good and clear look on how that person experienced reality at that moment.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think and to study that through the ages, it gives you the possibility to think about the fundamentals of reality. And we, of course, will never find that out, because this philosophical question that has been around, like in the West at least,
Yes. What about?
for 1,000 years already, like documented, written down. So it's just a very old traditional hobby, I guess, in the end.
Don't you have Rembrandt? Isn't Rembrandt Dutch?
He was.
Yes, and he was the master of light. Yes.
So they say, you know, Van Gogh, it's pronounced Van Gogh.
Yeah, cool.
He used to walk up and down my street.
Oh, wow.
What?
Here?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Like,
Cool.
Here?
Yeah.
Right over there.
So now, when you guys, when you put up, let's just say, and then you do your research about like a particular place, isn't that what you do with a particular place? And then you do your research on it. Why do you guys do that? I mean, what is it about when the term ghost maidens comes in? Do you get that actual photo off the web and then explain it from there and do research on it? Is that what you guys do?
well, the whole point of any ghost hunter, or you can't ghost hunt unless there's a story, right? So this is
Exactly.
exactly the same case where ghost hunters think they're doing their history and their research, where it just has to be real history, and then they can kind of go with their imagination or elaborate or
Their feelings,
yeah,
their
their
emotions.
feelings. But for us, I mean, I studied art and history, so this is exactly what ghost hunters need, or else they've got nothing. So it's just for us. You know, it's the same thing with also art objects. You don't care about art unless you know the story behind it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say is that, you know, I have this thing about calling ghost hunters. I hate the name hunters, and I actually don't believe in doing any of what they're doing. I don't believe in hunting ghosts. And the number one thing you need to do is your research. Okay, before you go in, let's just say you want to do the Mitzpah Hotel in Tonopah, Nevada. You need to do your research before you go in. A lot of these people just go in and just play around just to find what they think is a ghost and try to capture it on film just to prove it. That's not what I do at all, nor do I believe in.
Would you say that for you it's very important that the things are factual, like fact checking? Is that
Yes.
really important to you?
Yes, it is. However, I would not go into a Mitzpah hotel at one of the famous ghost places. I wouldn't do that kind of work. I mean, it's been overdone, and what is there to see? What do I need to prove? There is nothing to prove. There's
But
nothing.
why do you think research is so important?
I think research is important for anything. If you're going to be walking into an environment like I do, with let's just say I went into the Army surplus store, they called me in there. Well, I need to know research in the background of what kind of land was it built on? What's the history of the building? How long's it been there? How far back does this go? And then look at all of those things before you go in. So it's absolutely imperative that you have done your research before you go on any type of, if you want to call them investigations.
Because what would go wrong if you don't know the factualities?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the majority of the ghost hunters out there, that's what they do. They don't do their research. They're just in there to play around. And like I say, you play, you pay. I mean, they go in, they get scratched, they come out, they're a total mess. They don't know any protection techniques. They haven't done it. They've just looked on the web at the major research that's been done. They can go on and find the Mitzpah Hotel, pull it up and read quickly in one paragraph what it's about, and just go in and do it. I'm talking about places that are unknown, okay? Unknown. I'm not into doing the known. I do the unknown, which would be a house or a store or a building or a piece of land, like we just did for Rocketdyne about the reptilians.
So what's your strategy?
Well, my strategy is the first phone call, of course. My phone call to
When is the moment where you're doing the actual work? What happens?
What are you talking about when you go in? When I go in to do the actual work?
And you talk to the people.
Oh.
You find the problem. What's your steps?
Actually, I don't say it's a problem or not a problem. I don't go in. I go in with just an open mind. When I had my old partner Vic, who has passed, he was a real shaman, which calls himself a medicine person. He would go with me, and he goes way back. This is not a certified shaman that gets his credentials online or goes to a class for $2,000. He's an actual true shaman. So I had him to back me up as we went in to decide or help people with whatever they needed help with. And when we would go in, it was just a feeling. We would just walk around, and that is what we would do, is just get messages or feelings or any type of senses, taste, touch, smell, hearing, anything that came to us. And we would go our separate ways, and then we would come together to speak about what we both experienced. So I wasn't just walking next to him going, oh, hey, look over there. Oh, do you smell this? No, we both went our own ways so we could come together and find out if any of it was actually factual. If he was getting the same message as me.
And then what happened after that?
After that, then we come up with what we think is going on there, and then we come up with a plan and then speak with whoever owns the place or whoever is there that's called us, and then we go in and perform whatever is needed for the particular problem that's going on there. It could be,
for example, what was one that really solved that there really works?
Well, there has been, on the radio show, we had an experience there, which is way too long to get into, where a demonic being was released, and there was a woman who was basically held down and imprisoned by this. And to go in, literally, it's like almost a full exorcism. It takes me a couple hours to go through the process. There's candles, there's salt, there's sage, there's cedar, there's sweetgrass, there's water, there's all kinds of different tools to use, and it depends on the actual particular particular events that surround the issue. So not one is ever going to be the same ritual as any of the others. It's all going to be completely different based upon what is happening at that time. Now, I'm not into the capturing the ghost. I'm into helping it be released, and to be released from this dimension and go to a different dimension, which is better, or be so it's not under captive anymore or lost. I'm not interested in getting it on film. I'm just interested in helping.
Are there alien ghosts?
I haven't seen any alien ghosts.
Good question.
Do you think aliens have souls?
Now, that's a good question. I'm not really sure about that either. I'm not really sure. I don't think anyone's really sure about that. I'm sure a lot of people have done a lot of research on it and actually could tell you if they do or not. But I believe that the gray race, if they're more robotic, wouldn't have a soul.
I don't know.
However, the Nordic, hybrid Nordic alien race, possibly, if they are light workers, do have souls. So
Good
I think
question.
it just depends, but that's a great question.
Yeah.
Did you know that in Shintoism in Japan that they think everything has a soul, even down to a rock?
Yes, I have heard that. I just watched that last night on TV,
rock?
on a documentary. Yes, they do. They actually believe, yes,
Whoa.
everything has a soul.
Sure. I love collecting rocks. I must have a lot of souls out there.
So,
You believe that there's animal ghosts?
yes, I do. I
yeah.
saw one, and I had one in my room. So, yes. It was just a darting little dog that was darting through the room. It was no big deal. It just wanted my attention. And I also have dealt with other people that have caught images of a dog ghost. They didn't really know what, they knew it was some type of dog ghost, but they didn't know if it was one of their past dog ghosts or not. But I have seen images of that. Actually, one image that was caught was when on a job that we were doing at a restaurant, and it was down in the basement and peering around the corner, and you actually could see a form of some type of a dog. And then if you went down there and did your investigation and looked around the corner, there was nothing there. There was no way any type of figure could go there with the lighting. You have to check the lighting. You have to check every single thing that's going on there. If it could be a shadow with the lights on, with the lights off, with there was like a basin there, if that could be projecting outward. So you have to look at everything. But no, this was definitely a dog ghost.
Dog, yeah.
Some type of
What do
animal.
you think about other animals that aren't pets? Like, for example, if you went to a slaughterhouse, do you think it would be really haunted?
I'm not really sure. I grew up on a farm before, and there was, we did slaughter animals there. That's what it was for. And we did have 30,000 turkeys a year there. I was very young, but I actually do not know how I felt about that at the time, about slaughtering different animals, or if there could be ghosts of animals there. I actually would have to say, from my experience, no, I do not think so.
So only the domesticated pets, the pets.
From what I've seen, the dog ghost that we saw in the basement actually was more like a dog or a coyote or something like that. So I'm really ambivalent on saying yes or no on that. I don't really know why some would appear, because I don't believe that this type of dog that was in the basement, if it was more like a coyote or something, why would a coyote be there? I mean, maybe somebody had a dog when the building was first built and the dog was in the basement. Who knows what that was? So I don't really know.
What do you girls think?
What do you think on that?
Well, I think it is, how do you say, it's peculiar that people always only speak about the spirits of their pets still being with them.
Yeah.
And this makes me wonder what the hierarchy is.
Well, I think it's love. I think love is the answer. Love, it's about love.
But human love, like one directional love,
It's
like
lo-
we
love.
love you, so it has to stay with us.
Well, it's a love between an animal and a person. It's that love factor. If you bring that into it, you love your animal. You treat it like a child or a baby. I think it's very different when you start bringing in that word of love than
Or
it is
maybe
of a
cows
cow.
just don't want to hang out with us anymore in the afterlife because we killed them.
Well, that very well could be.
Because normally trauma is what makes a ghost. So in that case, there's a lot of unresolved trauma whenever we murder an animal, right? Because it doesn't want to die. So therefore, I would think that we would have a planet crawling with animal spirits, and the ones that we loved actually aren't the ones that need to hang around.
I do not believe whatsoever at all that only ghosts that are out there are here because of trauma. Absolutely do not believe that whatsoever. I've come across many people that I've dealt with, many homes, many clients that I've dealt with that actually do not have a trauma ghost. They have good ghosts, good ones that help, that are there just because they want to hang out. They're not.
Are you sure those aren't angels then?
No, they're not angels. They are the actual person of the person who died of the particular home. That I'll just tell you, one of the clients that I dealt with, they had a man who owned the home, and she was very good friends with him. She moved in, and he died, and she's still living in the home. And there's sense, from the nose and sight. She sees the flashes and also speaks to her and keeps evil and different people away from the house or situations that could be detrimental to her.
In my definition, that sounds exactly like what a typical angel does, right? The fact that it's still somehow on Earth in a different dimension, benevolently watching over you. I'd say that's exactly what an angel is. It's only a ghost usually when it's haunting or moral,
I agree with that. I think that's a very good interpretation, is that it definitely could be an angel from the other side watching over, and that it isn't a ghost. And I actually, you know what, I would have to actually agree with you on that one. That was very
But
good.
humans can become angels, right?
Well, it depends on how you think of it. It could be angels, it could be a spirit guide, but yes, we do to some degree become angelic when we cross over to the other side. I mean, of course, we aren't going to be in this human body experiencing what we're experiencing now, but it's going to be complete and utter bliss on the other side. It's just all energy. Everything is energy. It's not like it is here on this earth.
When you think of a typical angel, are you only referring to like the archangels, like Michael or George, or?
No, I'm referring to if maybe somebody passed on to our last story. I'm tying that into the person at the house. I'm tying that into that topic that we were just speaking about with that. But yes, that person actually could be called an angel and not a ghost.
Yeah, because for me, the lines become blurred.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I agree with you. The lines could become blurred, but I would have to say that I agree with you 100% that they're more angelic than ghost. However, it could be called either or. It could be called a ghost, or it could be called an angel, one or the other. I mean, I know that Vic, the shaman person I was telling you that I had worked with before who passed, I definitely know that he's with me, and he's left evidence, physical evidence, that I have seen and found. And he speaks to me not in sentences but in different words, and he is definitely a light being. I wouldn't call him an angel. It's not somebody with wings flying around, but it is definitely a light being watching over me and helping me in this lifetime go through what I need to go through, giving me little nudges here and there. It's almost kind of like a little bit of intuition that comes in, or a thought where you might think something like, oh, okay, let's walk in this direction, and then all of a sudden you walk in that direction and you find a rock on the ground where someone has painted an angel on it. So there are definitely angels.
Intuition, information from above.
Yes, information from above. That's exactly it. And that's what you guys are talking about. So what is information from above for you?
Intuition.
Intuition. Right. And where do you think intuition comes from? Just...
I think it's a universal human ability
But where...
to be able to think outside of your daily physical lizard brain.
Lizard brain, you said?
Yeah,
Lizard.
like your basic functions.
Hey, what do you think about UFOs being demons and aliens being also classified as, some people classify them as demons? Always brought that up before, as being the same, one and the same in Holland.
Depends on their message, right? Right.
I think that's actually very true. It depends on the message.
What do the people in Holland believe in? What is this? What's this?
They believe in money.
Money?
They believe
Yeah.
they believe
Money
in...
categories. Yes.
Oh, so they believe in money and nothing else, so they don't believe in ghosts, or there's nothing like what's going on.
Well, they would believe more in ghosts if it would make more money.
Okay, so religion is big there then. There must be a religious organization there that's pulling in a great deal of money then. It's all money based.
No.
I think the Dutch they have a long history of not being that religious or not that superstitious.
At least for 400 years.
Yeah. So I think.
But I will say the Dutch have come up with the best demons in all of our history. The Protestants, the best demons.
The best what?
They have, huh?
The best what?
Demons.
the best demons.
Oh,
They
really?
painted the
Demons.
best demons.
So are you atheists then?
I have some trouble with that word.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot say that.
I would call myself a pilgrim.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, how about pagan? You're not pagan?
No, you're not
Yeah.
Pagan?
pagan, not pagan.
More of the earth than, and believing in the earth rather than a spiritual being. More pagan?
Yeah. I'm a total pagan.
Okay,
Okay, so you're more pagan then. Okay.
I guess.
Well, this has been a very interesting topic. Is there anything else
It's
that you
amazing.
ladies would like to discuss or to explain about yourselves? I'm just wondering, okay, since you're the ghost maidens and it seems like you're a little bit not so much of a believer in ghosts, or why?
Well, I believe when
They
they tell
believe
me.
When they tell her.
Oh, okay. So you believe people when they tell you then?
Like, it's not that we don't believe in ghosts. It's more that it's not really relevant to ask if they are real. Like that's a boring question.
Okay, so you just want to hear the story then?
No,
Relation.
it's more of like an anthropological standpoint. When you ask a person what they think about a ghost, it reflects everything about their life, their culture, their way of thinking about the afterlife, death, mortality. It's all there when you talk to people about this.
Yeah, we like to see death as something that belongs to the living. So we don't focus on the dead people, but on the living ones.
So you guys are like scientific, highly intelligent
I would
scientists.
never call myself scientific.
Okay, well,
Scientific is just a term for studying.
It's just a term. I think that you guys are scientific, highly intelligent women is what I would call you.
Thanks. We're reasonable.
No, I would say that you're highly, highly intelligent and have a very, very different perspective on everything and a lot of different questions. I mean, so they in Holland, they don't believe in ghosts. Some people do. You said it's not really a big deal. They don't have shows on TV about it.
No, it's secretive. People have shame to talk about their superstitions
And their taboos.
Oh,
Wow.
that's really sad.
Wow.
Wow. So they have to live in they have to hide then.
Well, yeah, it's not in our culture to speak about apparitions or about feelings. Actually, this is
Wow.
Well, it actually, you know what? Here, it's a little bit the same. I would have to say that I agree with you that now that we're having this conversation, it's just you guys are bringing up, you know, all kinds of stuff for me where I'm sitting here going da 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 da. I'm not really da okay. And I just forgot what I was gonna. Oh yeah, now I know what I was gonna say.
No, we do the same thing. We're afraid. We're also afraid to talk about our stuff because people think we're crazy if we talk about
I'm
flying
not afraid.
saucers or if we talk
I'm
about
not
ghosts or whenever we bring up the paranormal. But people certainly are attracted to Zoe's door magnets. You know what I mean when it's.
I'm not, first of all, I'm not afraid whatsoever to speak about what I do or to speak to people about anything that I believe in, okay? Anything that I've experienced. I don't have any fear whatsoever. But I would have to say the general population, as you were just discussing, is very similar to Holland. Because when people talk to me, they want to talk to me in private. Or they'll say, I really have not spoken to anyone about this because they're going to think I'm crazy. And they haven't even spoke to their family about it. But because they see me or they see my t-shirt or my car magnets that I have, you know, on my car. Or,
Your car magnet?
yeah, they just say paranormal extraction, supernatural light worker. And so they'll come up to me and they'll ask me for my business card or a lot of times people just want it when they start talking about this because they don't talk about this here either. They will not shut up. They will go on and on and on and on. And
yeah,
so
that's also our experience. Like first, when you ask him, have you ever, I don't know, had a crazy dream or I don't know. It happens a lot when we're in the crowd, and then we start talking about it. And at first, people are always no.
Yeah, these girls, huh?
Yeah. But then everyone has a story, and everyone loves to speak about it. Actually, when they feel it's safe.
Yeah.
Oh.
yes, and I actually agree with you, but you know, I'm just telling you that people really do think. I mean, we've had to put a stop to it. I mean, we used to sit and talk to people for quite a while or hang out with them like outside of a grocery store or in a grocery store. And it just became so ridiculous because they would want to call, okay, and explain their story or they'd want to do an interview or something and then they would bag out. So we just don't have the time for people who just want to barf is what I'm calling it. They just want to barf out their stuff, get it out, and talk to someone who believes them, and then just drop the ball. So basically, it's
Well, they can, but they have to pay you for it, right?
that's well, yes, to some degree they do. It would be nice if they did that, or did a show, or they wanted to be interviewed, or something. Or follow through. If they say they're going to call and I want to find out more about their story, do a follow through. Don't just come to me to dump all your information about ghosts and feel like you're not crazy and talk to me and then just dump me and not give me a call. So now I ask for their phone number.
So
Yeah.
you girls, when you say you're in a crowd and you're in a country where, so you put people, do you put people at ease to bring out their stories, because it's like, say you're in a gathering, I don't know where your gatherings are, but it doesn't really matter. It was when
we also
when
invoke
you're
it a little
present.
bit because people know that we are the ghost maidens. So people
So
also feel like they can, obviously.
Yeah.
nice. So you're like a confession. You're like a confession from the. You could
It
open
happens.
slide
It
it open, and they
Right.
start telling Rose and Sybil what the heck's going on in their home, or what the heck their uncle saw when he was 10.
Yeah, and
or-
actually also on Instagram, we get a lot of private messages from people who wanna actually have our advice also.
Wow, cool. That's what
It's a little
happens
bit
here.
tricky because
Interesting. So
yeah, I'm not a I'm not a psychological how do you say that? Like I'm not
Psychologist.
yeah.
Well,
So
exa-
I can't tell people what to do, what
Well-
they should do.
well, exactly. I mean, I get the same thing too, and a lot of lunatics is what I call it. A lot of loony birds.
Are you guys a couple? Do you work together?
Yes, actually, no, we're a couple, but we did TV together, a TV show together, and we
radio.
did radio together too when we had our worldwide radio show. But Dee is more, with the COVID, and then my business partner, the shaman, dying, and Dee's job. We just decided to we're just doing interviews now.
yeah.
Because where are we going to go? What are we going to do? People aren't calling. And so that's why we've got into this, and that's why he sits behind the camera now.
And used to get into the technical equipment, like the
Yeah, he did all the equipment, the parabolic mic and the cameras and the
EVPs and all that kind of
EVP,
stuff, and make sure.
and set up all of that different stuff is what he did. So he was more on the tech side. But that's not happening right now.
No.
So,
Ideal situation. What do you want to do?
Well, my ideal situation is to be an interviewer, have my own show on TV, and be a supernatural and metaphysical interviewer, just on both sides, hearing different people's perspectives about, like I have a guy that I interviewed about a werewolf, seeing a werewolf, to all the way to what is it, spiritual sobriety, which is more on a metaphysical note. So I do a lot of metaphysical modalities too, like biotouch and different things that can help you spiritually, a person heal, or just talk about metaphysics if you're into metaphysics.
yeah, see what happens here in America. Ghosts are a huge subculture, and so
Yeah.
not so much as aliens, but there is a program. But hunting ghosts and everything is huge on cable networks here.
Yeah,
so
it's a
the
subculture.
subculture is out through the roof. So he wants to take it to another direction, where to give back to people in person,
Yeah.
rather than exploit the fact that I can pull a string and make a brick fly through the air so I can have a paranormal show, or put it into,
I think you're referring to Zach Bagans.
Yes, that's exactly what he did, by the
Type of
way.
thing. So we're not going to go into that, but
Yeah.
we
What's your opinion on Zach Bagans?
No, we know way too much stuff on that situation. We won't go there. That's not a good subject, but I
but
would
our
like.
overall thing is Hollywood, okay?
Yeah.
Actually,
That's-
it doesn't even have to be Hollywood.
No, I
it
mean,
could be on any network, but a show
Sensationalized.
where people can come on and express and talk about exactly what they went through, if it was a werewolf sighting, or if it was a reptilian sighting, or if it's some new technique that heals the body on every level, or if it's about you feeling like you're hopeless and you need messages, or somebody who wants to talk about angelic beings and how they help. So it could be a big rounded plethora of different things that have to do with the supernatural or the metaphysical, which could be a very interesting show. Not anything that's fake or brick throwing across the air or
Would you call it the metaphysical roundtable?
You could be.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
What is your feeling about good old Zachy? Just for fun.
We think that he is created the paranormal pop culture. We think he's the king of the
Not by
paranormal.
himself, not by himself.
That's
but
what he is.
Oh, he is because he's the most successful to date, but he basically had a lot of trailblazers that he learned how to create his
Ed
stuff.
and Lorraine Warren are the real thing. I mean, if anyone
But-
wants to look into who the real paranormal investigators are, you want to look into Ed and Lorraine Warren, and that's WARREN.
Kelly and John D.
Yeah, you too.
What was that?
Edward Kelly, John D. You gotta check them out.
Who?
Edward.
The ones that came up with the angel language.
Oh, right.
They-
Okay.
Original paranormal investigators.
Okay.
From the West.
Okay. So, where does someone find them?
What's
Just Google them. Edward Kelly and John D. They worked for Queen Elizabeth.
Okay. Is
Really?
that John Dean or D?
Dean?
Dean. E.
Oh, D.
Oh, D-E. Sweet.
Okay.
Okay.
Edward and John Dean.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to go on there as soon as this show's over with.
Edward Kelly and John D.
I've heard Edward Kelly before, but I didn't know the John D one, but I'm going to find out.
They work together.
Cool.
But I think it's time.
Okay?
Yes.
It is. It's way past time.
Yeah,
It's
it's
been way
way
too much
past-
fun.
Well, it's been extremely interesting, and that's what I call it. Speaking to someone when it's kind of all over the map, I always call it interesting. I don't say, oh my God, it's been exciting or it's been really bad. I just found this to be very interesting and find that you ladies are extremely intelligent and I just open-minded, I guess, instead of scientific, if you want me to say that word instead. But it is, when I'm speaking to you, I do feel like I'm speaking to scientists.
Both worlds meet each other.
Yeah, it's cool because you're artists. You know, I'm a scientist and I'm an artist. I believe there's always a room for study.
Yeah, he's more like you guys, and I'm the opposite of him. So that's why we work really well together.
Yeah, there's.
So if I want anything researched or anything done like that, he's the go-to guy.
Yeah.
He's the one that knows about it and can remember it. I don't remember things. I feel things. So when I speak about what I'm doing, it's more from I come from a different place, where he is more, oh, well, the left light on the right side of the odometer is now going to in through the roof on the right side of the upper left. So now that's how.
Like science.
Yeah. So it's more scientific.
Say like if I'm measuring a room or something for the electromagnetic.
Yes. I'm the opposite. So when people ask me questions, like you're asking me questions, I just come from more of a feeling sense or my own experience.
Yeah.
Where he is more like you guys are on the opposite sense. If I need something like that.
Yeah. I just don't have an infrared camera right now to switch so they can be like full on ghost show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that photograph should be
Yeah.
pretty hot.
Okay.
I know. Wait a second. There's one that just flew by your head over there. I'm just kidding. It's a joke.
Yeah, maybe it
It's a
did.
joke. Yeah.
Where we're gonna go?
Oh yeah, go
Okay.
get it now.
Okay.
Well, ladies, it's been awesome, and we've been talking to the Ghost Maidens today, and very interesting perspectives on everything, as well as mine and me answering their questions, which kind of stumped me at certain times. But these ladies are highly intelligent. You got to check them out. They're the Ghost Maidens.
Yeah.
And they are on Instagram is where you can find them. And we're going to say over and out for today. This has been a very, very interesting interview. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Good night.